Hello everybody and welcome back to Summon Night Swordcraft story. And hopefully I remember to put this video into a 16:9 resolution this time. I mean, it is a Game Boy Advance game, so I mean it's not really supposed to be in a 16:9 resolution, but I edited it to be that way anyway. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to say? We're gonna go into Labyrinth is mandatory. We're going to go through a dungeon that isn't in the labyrinth, and it does have a change of scenery and new enemies. So I won't be cutting or skipping any of the wild random battles in there, simply because it's a new place. It's not like the same old. It's not like the whatchamacallit. It's not like the labyrinth, in which a lot of it's the same, and most new enemies are just recolors of older ones. And there are new enemies in there, and I decided just to leave it there. Because the dungeon does have some very simple puzzle elements, but yes, the soldier. You can see he has a weapon that you can craft already. If not, one that you can eventually craft. What you get for breaking his weapon is you get a medical kit, which essentially revives you only once when you die. So I don't know if you'll get the item if you just defeat him normally, but I destroy his weapon because that's what I do against these types of opponents. So he might drop the same thing if you just deplete his HP, but I'm unsure. Yeah, this is the first time I'm actually recording Summon Night before I recorded Fate Extra, funnily enough. I just, it's simply because it's on my mind, really, and I recorded it earlier, like a few hours earlier, rather than in advance, because I didn't have enough footage for an episode today, so I needed to record some more. And I must say, there's some hilarious dialogue that can happen. I believe this video is going to end on a dialogue choice. If you pick the first option, you'll get some hilarious dialogue with sugar. Well, I find it hilarious anyway. But I don't actually. I choose the second option instead because I wanted to see what both chose, and I picked the first option. You know, not recording, and then I went back, recorded it, and picked the second option just to see what it was. And I just stuck with the second option because I was lazy to go back to the first. Now this soldier here is kind of misses you a lot. He does this jumping slash thing a lot, and he ends up missing you because of it. I mean, look at this. Oh yeah, what I didn't know is that if you're, depending on your weapon, they'll do different things. The sword won't do anything if you press up in the attack button, but if you have the drill and you press up in the attack button, I guess I'll call him Terry here, will actually point upwards with his drill, attack upwards. I don't believe I actually did. I tried pressing down on the D-pad at the attack button, which is A, I believe. So if you press down on the A button with the sword, he'll do a stab attack instead. And I didn't know that. I just found that while randomly pressing the up and A button with my drill. So that's something interesting that you should know about. The game really doesn't explain it to you, and if it does, I have missed it. So, yeah. I kind of really want to play the third Summonite game, Summonite Swordcraft Story 3. I did play a little bit of it in Japanese, of course, and it played a lot like the second one, but I didn't play too deep into it to notice any new mechanics, if there were new mechanics. But I really wanted to give it a shot, but as of right now, there was a team working on it, and I think they've stalled on progress. They might be progressing, I'm not too sure, I haven't looked into it. But I know they haven't completed the patch yet, so I won't be playing it anytime soon. Well, not for the channel anyway. While Super Wars may be heavy on story, I can play through that because the gameplay you don't really need to know Japanese to play the game. In a game like Swordcraft Story, the gameplay can be fun, but there's a lot of story, and missing that. There's a lot of story in Super Wars too. But in this type of game, you need to know what you need to do. So you need to actually be able to read or understand what's going on. Like games like Inazuma 11, they have an arrow pointing you where you need to go. So if you enjoy the gameplay of that, you can easily pick up the Japanese version of the game and play it. It was only one time when I had to look up something, and I was in Inazuma 11 Go 2. There was only one time I ever needed to look up something in an Inazuma 11 game that I played in Japanese. Only one time. But RPGs like this will tell you to go somewhere, and if you're just wandering around aimlessly, you might not ever find it. Especially if they told you to talk to a certain NPC and stuff like that. Which is why I don't really want to play Swordcraft Story. Which is why I didn't actually finish it while just playing it in Japanese. I think there might be no, there is a guide somewhere that doesn't talk about the story, but does tell you how to go through the game. If I remember correctly, that's why I played the first few chapters of the game. Well, actually, I'm gonna play the first chapter and I never played it again. So, yeah. I might give it a shot soon again. I don't know if I'll actually do that though. And even if I do, it won't be for the channel. Actually, before I move on, well, regarding the channel, I wanted to see something. I forgot to check it earlier, so why not check it now? It's nothing too interesting, it's just checking some data about my channel. Let's see here. And my internet's being slow. Or YouTube's fucking up. But anyway, we see this NPC here. I don't remember what he does. After this point in the game, I really don't remember anything about the game, to be honest. It was like I was playing it again. I remembered bits and pieces, but overall my knowledge of the game after this point is very low. The last time I played this game was a few years ago, so I don't remember much after this point. In the game. So that was kind of interesting because in the beginning I was kind of having a little bit of trouble recording this game, simply because it felt like I was doing the same thing as I had done. It didn't felt new, I should say, which is obvious because I've replayed the game, and it's a little bit harder to play through a game when you don't feel that it's really pulling you in. And the thing kept keeping me going was playing it for the channel. And as I continued to play it, and after I went past this point, I started to enjoy the game more and more after I passed this point. It was probably because there was actually a change in scenery and I was looking at the same backgrounds for an hour. I guess that's my main problem with this game, is that there's not enough change in scenery, so it can get a little bland sometimes, which is why the beginning of the game is a bit tough to get through. First time playing, it's fine to go through, but when you're playing on a repeat playthrough of the game, it's tough to go through that again. And this game does have some replayability, because each of the different summonites, well, summon guardian beasts, have their own dialogue. Well, two of them have their own dialogue. The other just say random, don't say words. The robot and the little Klonoa guy. I say Klonoa because I think he has big ears. If he doesn't, then well, he's got like bugs and gloves for hands. Klonoa probably wasn't the best comparison, but it's all I could come up with. Why did I don't think I actually did anything important there. I hope I didn't. Oh well. That was odd. I could have sworn I started recording and there were where we left off before, but oh well. Well, I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, Braun really likes our character's mother. I don't know if anything actually happens between the two. If something does, I don't remember at all what happened, so meh. But anyway, I asked him to give us a new drill, technique, blueprint, whatever you want to call it. I didn't have enough materials to make the new drill type, so I convert our old weapons into materials so I can actually make the new drill. If you want to hold off on making the drill, you can, because there isn't a boss coming up that requires a drill. But I would still recommend making it, because there's really no point into neglecting it. But if you're really running low on materials, you can hold off on it, I suppose. You can see me rummaging through the menus here. I was really thinking of perhaps converting one of my potions, or even my med kit, or the amulet even, into parts, but I decided to save them because it's not really worth it to convert those into parts, or materials, I should say. The game tells us what they are in the top there. You know, this game is a lot of fun when you're playing it. Watching it is a different kind of story, to be honest. And that happens a lot, because some games you can commentate through just fine. But watching it is a different story. Watching this game, I can see why people might not be interested in it, because it doesn't look too amazing just watching the game. But when you actually play the game, you're gonna have a funner time going through it, because because I'm watching this game just like you guys are watching this exact same video. So I can tell when watching something is kind of a little bit boring because I'm watching my own gameplay footage because I'm doing things in post. Oh boy, where do we go now? Well, that looks like a door there, but you can't go in there. You gotta go down here, and there's the door. And if you go down here, there's a bed you can sleep in, and if you see that book on the right there, that's where you can learn a new technique. So if you haven't learned the technique you wanted from Braun, you don't have to go back to him. You can just learn the technique from the boat here. So you're good. The game did do some. The game didn't like screw you over by saying that nope, you can't make a new weapon type anymore. So as long as you have access to the boat, you can go back here and learn a new technique, I suppose. I don't really come back to the boat after we go to our destination because there really is no need to. The vortex. How do you know? How does he know it's seaweed? Sugar tries to trick our main character here. Maybe not trick, but trick isn't the right word for it. And Sugar gets kind of pissed that you didn't. I don't know what you would say. Get some. I feel like that's really not the right way to put it, but. But Sugar didn't get what she wanted, so she's kind of mad. She really doesn't say anything about it after this, though. Anyway, this guy, you attack him a few times and then block. Attack him twice and block should be what you should do. You can actually stun lock him and cause him to repeat his pattern. It's a bit difficult to do and requires a pretty good timing. I do it near the end of this fight, but in the beginning I'm having a little bit of trouble. Now, we will fight a recolor of this boss a little bit later, but it's a bit harder. Its pattern is essentially the same. It's, you know how this guy has this twirling arm attack here? The recolor of this boss, I say recolor, but it does have a different head. It doesn't do that twirly thing. It's a little bit different. But it's pretty much the same boss fight, and you can see here I stun lock him. So after his fins go up in the air is when you can stun lock him and cause him to repeat his pattern over and over again. So overall, it's a pretty easy boss fight. But if you get caught up in its pace, you can really lose a lot of health there. I would recommend going back into the ship and healing up before moving on, but I don't think I do that. You'll be fine if you didn't, because I'm fine, but that's because I have some healing items. If you don't have any healing items, I recommend going back into the ship and healing up. Otherwise, you can have a bit of a tough time going through this area here. You won't fight any of the soldiers you'll see in this area, and I don't think there are anything in those barrels there, so I just ignore them. The video is coming to a close soon. Anyway, this video is gonna end on like a dialogue decision. I didn't want it to end on that note, but the video would have gone for a little bit longer than I would have wanted it to if I put another clip in. And I know I could have edited it so that it just showed what would happen in the dialogue box and end the video there, but I'm lazy, so leave me alone. But anyway, like I said before, the dialogue choice is coming up. The first option is kind of funny, and I don't think there are any relationship points to lose with anybody if you pick a decision that pisses them off or something like that. I don't think there is. There could very well be, and in case that happens, I didn't do that. I didn't show that off. So anyway, if you're wondering what choice I picked at the end here, it's the second one, as I've said before. Hey, that guy looks familiar. But yes, if you remember, he is the Craft Lord of Amba. He was that evil guy earlier that totally wasn't evil. Now, the Marine Dungeon is a new dungeon that I was talking about that actually looks different. I don't speed up through it because it does contain some very light puzzle elements. By very light, I mean you just go to another dungeon and press what is essentially a switch. It's not a switch, it's a boulder. And by a boulder, I mean not a boulder at all. So, so yeah, I just show it off. I just don't skip through it. But anyway, it's not even in this video, so I don't know why I'm talking about it right now. But anyway, the video is gonna end soon, so I'll see you guys again next time, whenever that is. Bye.